Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review! So I saw Guardians of the Galaxy the other day and I have to admit it was a pretty good film. I was worried this film would be one of the more forgettable and disappointing Marvel movies, to be honest. But I can safely say this one definitely rises above the rest that have been put out, especially since Endgame. This movie is fun, emotional, dark, and creative. I think what makes this movie so good is that you have an emotional connection to these characters, and each of the stories feel fleshed out and given enough time. They all feel like a dysfunctional family at this point, but it works. Everybody seems to have a role in this family dynamic. There's some pretty emotional scenes with some of the characters that honestly surprised me. I think those scenes might be the best in the movie because you get some great performances. Maybe the best performances of the movie just in those emotional scenes alone. As for the action scenes, they're very well paced and kind of fun to look at. I mean, I'm not a guy who's really interested in that many action scenes, but these ones were pretty well done, I think. No complaints here. So I talked about everything I liked. Let's go into the things I didn't like. I'm actually one of the people who actually enjoys Adam Warlock, and I've been a fan of him for a few years at this point. But in this, it feels like he was more of an afterthought. I think that Adam was maybe supposed to be in maybe another project or maybe a future Guardians movie. For me, it just feels like he was kind of an afterthought in this film. They didn't really know what to do with him. At the end of the day, he's not a terrible addition to the roster. He's just kind of forgettable, and I don't really find myself thinking that this character is gonna be the next big MCU character at all, or the next Guardians of the Galaxy member. Another thing that actually made me irritated is Gamora's inclusion in this. Since the real Gamora died in Infinity War, this Gamora doesn't have any knowledge of the Guardians of the Galaxy or Quill. I think this is a bad decision for her to be in this because she doesn't have a chance to play off any other character to have a fun moment. There are a few with Quill or with Nebula, but other than that, she doesn't really get any material to actually play out the others because they don't know her and she doesn't know them. And it kind of provides this weird conundrum where she's just kind of just there, and she's a lot more noticeable than Adam Warlock is, but at the end of the day, she's kind of an inclusion that I might have not wanted in the first place. As for the High Evolutionary as a villain, I think he's a pretty great villain, to be honest. I didn't expect that. I'm not the biggest High Evolutionary fan of the comics. I thought he's one of the lamest villains, to be honest, and one I don't especially find cool, but he's pretty great. I think it's good to have a villain who's just plain evil and that we have no problem with being killed. This dude is has no moral compass at all. I think that just works well. He's just evil, and it works phenomenal in this film. Well, I have to say this is a pretty great film, and I definitely recommend it. And I say this film is definitely an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a later video.